Tell Me What to Read is recorded on the lands of the Wongal people, and we pay our respects to all elders past and present, and extend our welcome to any First Nations people listening today. This is Tell Me What to Read, brought to you by Booktopia. I'm your host, Nick Wasiliev, and welcome to the show where we chat about the next great books you should be reading with the authors behind them and familiar faces who read them. All books mentioned in today's show can be found right now at booktopia.com.au, and the links can be found in the description.
This is Tell Me What to Read, powered by Booktopia. I'm Ben Hunter, and I'm here today to chat through some recommendations. We've gone out to a whole bunch of Booktopia friends, family, colleagues, and we've got their questions, and we're going to try and answer them. So this is a fun, interesting episode of Bookish Recommendations. We're going to give it our best shot. I'm here with a couple of my fellow book experts, Shanu Prasad and Amy Evans. How you guys going?
Very great. Pretty good.
This is going to be wild. I'm going to crack into the questions, and let's see how we do. The first question comes from Nick, and if you listen to the podcast, you might know Nick is kind of a face of Booktopia. I love him. He says, my dad is desperate to get into reading after enjoying Matt Rogers' biography. He's a lover of sports books, but has also been getting into cooking. Where is the best place to start? That's so open-ended. That could be...
Can I just say that is one thing I think we have missed this year. And if our publishers are listening to this podcast, where is the sports ball star cookbook author? That's what we're waiting for.
Sports ball cookbook author.
Sports ball star / cookbook author is what I need next year. Someone bring it on. In light of the fact that we don't have that, in place of that, what I would recommend is probably to do those two activities separately. Read biographies, cook some food. And I'd probably go to different people to get that information separately. So the first thing, and I think I've mentioned this before, and I'll mention it again, is I think I've mentioned this any time I've been able to talk about biographies this year, because I really was that impressed, is Eddie Betts' biography, The Boy from Boomerang Crescent. If you want a biography that is more than just about sport, because the Matt Rogers biography, and let's be honest, that's been a trend this year. If you're writing a sports bio, you can't just be writing about sport. People want to know about the sports person's life, and they want to know how they got to where they are, what drives them, what's important to them, and Eddie Betts' biography certainly does that. So does the Tim Payne biography. I think, honestly, when that biography was first The Price We Paid, I don't think it was going to be called that, and I think the focus of it had really changed because of what happened. And if you don't know what happened, just Google it, you'll find out. So those are the two recommendations I would say for the sports bios. If you want something that is just that goes beyond sport, I will just mention one other biography that kind of might have gotten a little bit missed if you weren't like a follower of him, but was also a really, really great bio that melded, talking about mental health as well as talking about sport. And that was Tom Boyd's biography, Nowhere to Hide. Also had a fantastic cover with a fantastic moustache. So they're the books I would recommend on the sporting side. On the cooking side, there are just so many. There are so many amazing cookbooks. And if you're getting into cooking, then I think you can't really go wrong with a number of these. First one has got to be Recipe Tin Eats Dinner.
Right.
If you've never heard of Nagi, then you have been living under a cooking rock, because her fans are many and numerous, and she has run a extremely successful website for a number of years, and she has made a book which has all new recipes, which is absolutely crazy considering how many recipes are actually already on her website, but that is how prolific and amazing she is. And I can tell you, as a fan of her for a couple of years now, that every single recipe I have tried works. And the best part of her recipes is that she explains why she's doing something, why you're using this instead of that. She gives you notes. She gives you alternatives. If you don't have this, do this. And everything you can just get from your local supermarket, which is fantastic and so helpful for a lot of people who don't live in, big cities where all of these sometimes more fancy ingredients are available. Another one that you could check out if you're sort of wanting to kind of explore some different cuisines and get but something that's still quite simple and something that's achievable is Adam Liao's follow-up to his best-selling book last year, Tonight's Dinner, called imaginatively Tonight's Dinner 2, where basically he's just got more incredible family recipes, which are all flavorful, all delicious, all, again, easy to make and can be, cooked out of a home kitchen using ingredients from the supermarket, but just flavor. So definitely recommend that. And then another absolute brilliant book, which I think everyone should have in their kitchen, whether you're a brilliant chef or a, beginner cook, is from the Cornersmith women, Alex Elliott Howery and Jamie Edwards, The Food Savers A to Z.
Yeah.
And can I tell you that I don't know any person that has not gone to their fridge and gone, what the heck am I going to do with half a bunch of dill and a carrot? And you know what? This book, you just go to D for dill or C for carrot, and it will give you a recipe. And it will give you a recipe for if you've got half of a something or too many of a something, and give you recipes on how to use
not
those
just recipes, but way to preserve those things to last longer or use in different ways later on.
Yeah. How, like, this one is like, it should just be like the government should really just be giving one to every person.
Since I got on the Cornersmith train, I throw out so little food. It's incredible. I have to find things for my worms.
Worms are getting
I shouldn't go shopping just for the worms. Speaking of mustaches earlier, Shanu, our next question comes from Patham, who sports an excellent one in our team. He says, my partner has been completely obsessed with crime fiction all year. She is close to achieving her reading goal for the year. What fiction should I direct her to? I love that your partner has a reading goal, Patham. I want to know what yours is too, mate. But like crime, you will never run out of good crime to read. I would the first thing I would just jump in and say is Exiles by Jane Harper. It's probably the best-selling crime book of the year, and if she hasn't already got it, get it. Desert Star by Michael Connolly is terrific if you want something that is gritty and crime noir. Michael Connolly has got to be like one of my favorite crime writers of all time. And this new one, Desert Star, is in the Ballard Bosch series. Harry Bosch books just go back decades now, and that you can just feast on that whole series, and it is like a masterclass of crime writing. There is a new one from Richard Osman, who has there's just a super best-selling series, Thursday Motor Club. They're fun, they're intelligent, they're really well crafted. The new one is called Bullet That Missed. There is a new book from Chris Hammer, which is he just writes the most entertaining, blisteringly good. Like if there's an equivalent of Michael Connolly in Australia, it would be Chris Hammer. I would say the new one is called The Tilt, and it is set on the Murray River, and in this like small town with a cold case, you get stuff about a POW camp, neo-Nazis, anti-vaxxers, like weird historical stuff. There's a family tree mystery as well, like all in one, like small town crime. Like I don't know how he does it, but he does it. It's brilliant. Gary Disher is also like a just stalwart of rural crime, and he's got a new one in his Hirsch series, and that is called Day's End. There's a couple of debuts that have been really good. Dirt Town by Hayley Scribner, again fits in that rural thing, but she does something really new with the voice of children in the heart of a tragedy, which is just really special. I can't wait for more work from her, and that's really taken off and been a bestseller. Another one is Wake by Shelley Burr. That book is kind of about the aftermath of crime, the people that get left behind, and it's really intelligently done and insightful writing in like a very crowded genre. And for lovers of crime, there is a new Carrie Greenwood, and Carrie Greenwood's just like, it's just a queen.
I love her. My mother-in-law loves her. Sister-in-law loves her.
There's so much excitement when she started putting out new Franny Fisher books, and there is a new one this year. It's called Murder in Williamstown.
I'm saving it for holidays. I save it all year, waiting for it. Good joy.
And yeah, that's just scratching the surface. There's so much good crime. Go get amongst it.
Can I recommend just two more?
Please.
Sorry, because crime is also my favorite genre. It's my relaxing genre of reading. And can I just say, one thing, I do love crime. One thing in Australian crime is a lot of white people writing crime. So I'm just going to talk very quickly about two people that aren't white that are writing two of my actual favorite books this year. Hands down, I didn't know anything about the first author at all until I'd read the book and then looked at the back cover. I was like, oh, cool. Danuka Mackenzie has written this book called The
Torrent.
The Torrent.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it. Debut again, and her second book's coming out next year, and I can't wait for it. And she just writes as a person that is half Indian, but also looks very pale, so doesn't not immediately othered. I can just say that I really resonated with how her experiences in the book, and I thought that was super interesting. And then the other one, it was just an absolute romp of a book that, if you like the Benjamin Stevenson book that he wrote this year, is kind of gives me similar vibes, which is Solari Gentle's The Woman in the Library.
Yeah.
It's just so clever, so funny, so brilliant. And so I highly recommend seeking out where you can. Yes, all those other books are amazing and crazy great, and I read all of them. I love them too, but those two were just particular standouts for me.
Well said. Yeah, talking about crime all day. Jess says, my mum is an experienced cook looking for a challenge, and she loves baking. What does she need?
Well,
take the floor.
What doesn't she need? No. There's a few books, and there's four books that I say must have. Bake My Day. Catherine Sabbath is back with incredible bakes. She starts the bakes easy and goes to more complicated, still doable, but more complicated. But the more complicated are so impressive. So if you want to impress someone, bake something out of that, and you will definitely impress that person. The second one is one that I think just is a classic that needs to be in anyone's kitchen, because it's going to be one that you just turn to time and time again when you want to bake something delicious for friends, family, yourself. And that is Amelia Jackson's First Cream the Butter and Sugar. So many incredible flavor combinations, so many cookie recipes. And I love making cookies because they're so fast and so easy and so delicious. So highly recommend that one. I made a cake last week, from Claire Saffetson's new book, What's for Dessert, which got a resounding approval from every single person that ate it. And it was delicious, a delicious meringue chocolate cake. And that was just one of many, many amazing recipes in that book. So you should definitely get her that. You should also, for the challenge part, and I think there is nothing more challenging in my mind than making a croissant. Good luck all who are trying this.
It is more science than baking.
It is more science than baking. I definitely love eating the croissants, and if anyone else would like to make a croissant from Loon for me, which is the book I'm recommending, I'll happily eat it. But Loon from Croissants All Day, All Night from Kate Reid, they are the 4 baking books that I would highly recommend for Jess's mum.
Our next question comes from Cass, who says, book talk and romance talk have taken over my life to an obsessive degree. What book do you recommend as a gift to myself?
That's the best kind of Christmas gift.
I'm all about buying Christmas and birthday gifts for yourself.
Yeah, totally.
This is like a me question, but I'm stumped by it.
Because, Ben, you're not a big romance talk
with my standout while you think.
Yeah, take the floor.
I want to make sure that nobody forgets this year that Emily Henry released her best book yet.
100%. So 100%.
I will read anything Emily Henry writes, from her grocery list to her next novel. This one is called Book Lovers, and it involves my favorite theme ever, which is books about books.
Mm-hmm.
Both our main characters work in the book industry. A lot of the book takes place in a small town bookshop. So it's really delightful in that sense. It's enemies to lovers. So if you're all over book talk, you'll eat that up. It is
a Hallmark movie. It's a Hallmark movie, but also flipped. Oh, so clever.
And it's hilarious.
Oh, so funny.
But it's emotional. I love Emily Henry.
Yeah. And there's a real reason they can't be together. Like, there's a real reason. Not fake reasons, real reasons, people. But don't worry, it gets resolved. They get together. Sorry to spoil it.
Yeah, I definitely was going to say Emily Henry this seems to be getting
I had to jump in and about it.
But I was hesitating on like how to answer this, because book talk and even like the romance corner of book talk is just massive and amorphous, and I don't like it's just, there's the spicy stuff. You've already touched on enemies to lovers. There's like the William. There's so much going on, and I cannot keep up with it. We have like a whole landing page on our website where you can kind of pick apart some of the book top genres. There's a whole thing on Colleen Hoover.
Yeah.
Is that romance?
Colleen Hoover, it depends which Colleen Hoover you're talking about, because Colleen Hoover is a woman of many faces. There is a lot, Verity is more crime, like a crime fiction kind of novel. And then, it starts with us, it ends with us, it ends without us. I always get the names confused, but
there's both now.
Yeah. No, as in, but it ends with us, without us.
It ends with us.
And starts with us.
Yeah,
starts with us.
This is why I get confused, guys. They're different colours, the covers.
And there's this gorgeous amount of queer stuff on BookTok, which is great. I think that's really special. And it's stacks of YA. Heartstopper was a whole thing.
If you didn't read Husband Material by Alexis Hall was a great book. It's follow-up to Boyfriend Material, which is just the cutest book I've ever read.
Yeah.
But if you didn't look at a Heartstopper book this year, I don't know what you were doing at the time.
Totally. And that's perfect for any age. Any age.
100%, yeah.
And we can't forget that, because, the books that have that kind of started on BookTok, or kind of got or not books, but authors that kind of got a new lease on life, like Colleen Hoover did through BookTok, but then had broken out into being bestsellers. So, certainly I think, Kerry Soto is back is another one like that from Taylor Jenkins Reid, because I remember when her first book came out, and it did quite well, but then it kind of went away, and then all of a sudden everyone was like, it's all talking about her, and that's what I think is great about the book talk and romance talk, is that it's not just about brand new titles; it's also about bringing back authors that may not have got the love that they love.
Some of them, Colleen Hoover, she was so prolific for so many years, and now she's rich.
Yeah,
she's like the James Patterson of BookTok.
She's the queen of BookTok.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's the recommendations, especially if you're buying them for yourself. I would say start with those 4, and then, as Ben said, totally go and explore that page, because that's when you find one book, and that's the best part of it. I think that's why the talk works so brilliantly, because you find one thing and then it leads you down the path of other things, and that's when you discover
the path of talk.
The path of talk.
It's a dangerous place.
Yeah, new science fiction series.
Hannah says, my niece has been on a massive YA fantasy kick of late. What is a great book recommendation for Christmas for her?
I might just have the best answer ever for this question. If she hasn't already read The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni, then it's never been a more perfect time to introduce her to the series, because we at Booktopia have a limited edition collector's version of this amazing book, exclusive to Booktopia. We are the only place you can buy it, the only place you will see it. It is beautiful. It is a stunning hardcover. There's artwork under the dust jacket. The book itself has new character art and illustrated maps, and there is bonus content from Lynette Noni herself. It is available from December 1st, but you can pre-order it now. It is very limited, so pre-order it now. But if you haven't read Prison Healer, it's a 3-book series, so there's lots to sink your teeth into if you love it.
Love that. Great recommendation. I'm going to keep it moving with one from Helen, who says, my sister loves books that are pretty. What should I get her that she can put on her coffee table? Shanu, this is a question for you, my friend.
Also for you, Ben, because I know that you love a pretty coffee table book.
Well, I do. I can't afford them, but I do love them.
All right. Well, there are so many. I'll just give you some. Chloe Catwalk, the new in the Catwalk series. If she likes fashion, she'll like this. If she likes minimalist, neutral colors, she'll like this. It's great. It's gorgeous. Bush Life, because it's basically photographs, beautiful photographs of rural Australia, but with a bit of a fashion edge. So that is a great look. And it's got cows on the front, which I know Ben loves.
I do love cows.
Super Bloom is a gorgeous looking book. Again, very minimalist on the cover, beautiful blue cover. Inside, illustrations of not every flower probably, but like all of the big flowers, and so many of them in Australia, and information about them. And I know that's one that I'm certainly getting for my own house. And I don't really have a coffee table, but my house. And then Aunt and Pike have probably the most beautiful eye-catching book out this year, stylistically speaking, and content is just a feast for the eyes.
Alicia says, my boyfriend doesn't like reading much, but he wants to get back into it. What book from any genre would be a good light read to do this? This is a hard question, but an important one. In fiction, I've got a couple of go-tos for blokes. I would lean to A Gentleman in Moscow by Emma Towles is a mega bestseller, and it's like it gives you a lot, and it's a gift of a read. And lots of people that don't read a lot of fiction read that book, and it just sells and sells and sells. Similarly, Boy Swallows Universe by Trent Dalton is an Australian book that just captures the heart of a lot of people and just like sends a lightning bolt through readers. It's kind of like a Tim Winton for this generation. Not that Tim Winton isn't for this generation, but like there's you could draw a line from Tim Winton to Trent Dalton. It's a very special read. In crime, I mentioned Dirt Town earlier. I think that is just a cracking read that is a bit different and so easy to pick up and just be absorbed in. So that those are some recos from the fiction sphere, but I don't know, the world's your oyster. Like if you're not a reader, like just start reading like this.
But also you can start with something that is like, less words, more pictures or more things like The Guy Who Decides by Jimmy Reese, where it's like if you love Jimmy Reese, you'll love this book. And it's not, you just dip in and out. That's another key thing. I think a lot of people get intimidated by reading to think I've got to start and there's so much commitment and then finish. But no, just short stories. Short stories are another good thing. You just read one story and off you go. Find something of a subject that he likes, and then you can do that. But Jimmy Reese is The Guy Who Decides. I think that's a perfect book for a non-reader that's like wants to like start just reading again, because it is basically his videos but on the page. So
yeah, any thoughts on that, Amy? Or
a lot of comedians and entertainers have come out with books this year, so familiar faces, it's really easy to jump in and read their stories.
I mean, The Philosophy of Modern Song by Bob Dylan. It's such a cool book.
If you're a muso.
If you just love like just history or music or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think that, that kind of thing where it's like it's a great book, but it's not time intensive, labor intensive. It's just fun.
Yeah.
Reading's fun.
Yeah. Well said. Like Alicia, like whatever your boyfriend, whatever is into, like you can draw a line from there to books and make it work. It's a beautiful way to give a gift and get him reading and shut him up. Like books shut people up. So that's I don't know you
except for us,
not us, but I don't know you and your boyfriend, but that's a value add for some people. Moving on. The final question, and this gets us talking about the cutest thing of all. Bodhi asks, she says, my 1-year-old has just started talking. Do you have any good children's books?
I do have a very good children's book for this. A lot of parents might be familiar with the ABC Kids entertainment duo, the Teeny Tiny Stevies, which is the cutest name ever. They've written a lot of great books like Boss of Your Own Body, How Brave Can I Be? How Brave I Can Be, sorry. Their newest book that just came out is called Sleep Through the Night, and it's a bedtime story all about the joy of sleeping, which I think a lot of adults understand, but a lot of kids haven't quite caught on to how good that is yet. So it's a beautiful storybook, very lyrical, all about the importance of sleep.
And the cutest illustrations. Oh, it's
adorable.
It's so sweet. So sweet. I have certainly bought that for a person I don't have a child, but a person in my life that has a child. Yeah. Who would love them to sleep. Can I just, I know we have to finish, but there's one book we haven't mentioned, which isn't really Christmas if we haven't mentioned Peter Fitzsimons' newest book. Because
yeah, well said. Okay.
I know no one asked me about what book I would recommend, but let's be honest, there is always someone in your life that you are going to want to give his latest book to.
I buy it for my grandpa for Christmas every year.
100%. See, everyone will have someone. And
this year's one is good.
This year's one is excellent. The Battle of Long Tan.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's war, it's Australia, it's history, but recent history.
Yeah, lived experience.
Lived
There
experience.
were
And
survivors he could still talk to.
exactly. The
firsthand.
research that he could do was so extensive, and he does so much research, and his team do so much research before he even starts writing this book that I think honestly you should really, 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 really grab a copy for someone in your life or even yourself.
That's not for your 1-year-old, but maybe
Good
for
point.
the parents.
Parents
Yeah.
of a 1-year-old.
Oh,
You could read it to the
if you read Peter Fitzsimons to the 1-year-old,
Might fall
definitely
asleep.
fall asleep. It's a good bedtime book.
Yeah. Might have
Uh,
nightmares, but they would be asleep while they were having.
Oh, well, there's been some interesting recommendations. Shanu, Amy, thank you for your time and your expertise.
Thank you, Ben.
And thank you, listener, for joining us. You can order all of these books that we've mentioned right now from booktopia.com.au. There is links in the description below. And if you enjoyed the show today, drop us a review, or you can like the show wherever you are listening. Thank you for listening, and do never stop reading.
Thanks to all of our guests on today's show. Remember, all books mentioned in today's show can be found right now at booktopia.com.au. Links can be found in the description. We would also love to hear what you're reading, so feel free to join the conversation on social media. Search Booktopia on your favourite platform and join our book club. We'll catch you for our next episode, but until then, thanks for listening and never stop reading.